Hi there. In this visualization, we're going to turn our attention to the world's GDP when measured in dollars adjusted for purchasing power parity, or PPP. Every 5 years, the World Bank recalculates the benchmark, and it did so in April 2014. The data is benchmarked for 2011. And insofar as they're accurate, this is probably the best moment to make a comparison. Now, we've already seen the data is adjusted to take into account structural differences in prices between countries, and therefore they provide the best measure for real differences in per capita GDP. Although in the recently released newspaper headlines screaming about China catching up with America and China and India overtaking America, this actually says nothing about the ability to buy resources on world markets. But it does say a lot about how far the dollar goes when goods are bought inside a country. So we're going to stick with what the data is meant for, comparisons in domestic purchasing power. With 137 larger countries for which the World Bank has comparable data, each decile is 13, except the first 7, which are 14 each. The top decile comprises a mixture of oil-rich states and rich developed economies, often medium-sized economies. So let's work down the list. We start with Qatar, Kuwait, Singapore, Norway, the United Arab Emirates, Switzerland, Hong Kong, and only then the United States. With a per capita income of just under $50,000 at both PPP and current dollars, the United States was actually the reference point for all of the calculations. Then there follows Saudi Arabia, the Netherlands, Austria, Ireland, Oman, and Australia with $42,000. The next decile covers the range down to around $30,000. It includes most of the rest of Western and Northern Europe, as well as Canada and Japan. The third decile takes us down to around $20,000. It includes most of the rest of Europe, Malaysia, Kazakhstan and Chile. The next two deciles take the range down to around $10,000. Mostly countries from Central and South America, the Middle East and North Africa, and only just getting in, slightly above the modal income, we have China. So let's scroll through and pause at the bottom 30%. At this point, the per capita income is around $3,600. There are still some Asian countries in the mix, the largest being Bangladesh, but as we move downwards, the field is increasingly dominated by sub-Saharan African countries. And even imagining a margin of error of around 50%, we're unlikely to propel them out of this bottom range. Well, that concludes our look at the world's per capita GDP once it's been adjusted for differences in purchasing power. The detailed data, as well as the per capita data without the adjustment, in other words in current dollars, are in the database accompanying this course.